Welcome to Career Journeys, a series of videos by the Consortium for Public Education. Here we explore the career experiences and pathways of professionals from a wide variety of careers to help you think about the skills you'll need and the paths you might take after high school.
Hi, I'm Debbie Pixton with the Consortium for Public Education. Today I'm interviewing Kara Rubio, a program manager at Women for Healthy Environment. Thank you so much for joining us, Kara.
Thank you, Debbie. I'm so excited to be here today.
Kara, tell us about Women for Healthy Environment and your role there. What do you do as a program manager?
So I work as the Healthy Schools PA program manager for Women for a Healthy Environment. We're an environmental health nonprofit based in Pittsburgh, but we serve all the Southwest PA region. In my role, I serve and support schools across Southwest PA, which is 10 counties. And I serve them with technical assistance, educational program, and research and advocacy to help build healthier learning environments for students and staff.
Kara, what do you really do as a program manager?
So as a program manager, I undertake a process where I brainstorm and I conceptualize some solutions to a challenge that's presented in the school environment. For instance, working on health in the built environment. So I'm thinking about how healthy are our buildings and how do we figure that out, you know? And so I start to create programs and to start to look for grants that can help support that kind of work. And programs can take place in the advocacy space. So sometimes the best solution that comes up is organizing folks to advocate for an issue, which we are doing currently with pesticides, or Pesticides on School Grounds campaign. Other times it means building capacity. And so that means thinking about what are the specific skills I need to help school professionals gain so that they can do this work on their own in a more sustainable way, where they aren't looking for outside help because they have the tools and resources they need right in their school to fix it. And whether that group is parents, school principals, custodial staff, I really think about what are the appropriate tools and resources to build there, so that folks can make those decisions for their community with their knowledge of who their school community is and the challenges of their particular buildings. And then program management is also about evaluation. So thinking about what's working and what isn't, and taking a really honest look at the data and understanding like programs need to grow and change to be responsive to what schools need. And so making sure that we're really clear about the type of challenge we're tackling and the solution that we need to take forward. So that's a lot of what I do in my job. It's a lot of programs at once. So definitely multitasking as a skill here. But I think starting with a really clear vision, like we've talked about before, helps me stay grounded in this work and reminds me of why it's so important to build a good program and to invest the time in building that program out and doing outreach in a responsible and equitable way as well.
So how did you end up at Women for Healthy Environment? Can you tell us a little bit about your career path?
Sure. So my background is in public health. That's what I got my graduate degree in. But I also really love environmental science. And I think environmental health is such a nice melding of how our health is really always in constant relationship with our environment. And so that's the work I get to do here at WE. When I was in grad school, instead of doing research like a lot of my other peers, I actually worked for the YMCA. So I was a before and after school coordinator, and I worked summer camp too. And I really had like such a special love for that out of school time informal education space. And I really love like thinking about lesson plans and ways that we can learn hands-on and ways that we can learn through play. And something I really love about this job is that it takes a public health lens to technical expertise, but there's also the freedom to teach. And that's teaching different audiences. So I teach students, I teach custodial staff, I teach school leaders. And I think the principles of hands-on learning like really apply well to all those audiences. And I do think that kind of informal education experience gave me an edge when I was interviewing because I was able to relate those skills and those experiences to a diverse set of audiences that I would need to reach at my current position.
Kara, what are some skills that make you particularly good at the work you're doing now?
One skill that I've built actually over the past few years in my role is the ability to translate research into action. So I read a lot of research papers about schools and things like air conditioning and air quality and cleaning. And I read those papers because I want to make sure that the programs I build are built on the best available evidence and science that shows how our environment affects our health, the environment affects the way that children develop, and it also affects the way that children learn best and staff work best. And so this skill requires thinking critically about science, but also understanding the context in which schools work and the challenges that schools have, and thinking, and with this local context, able to solve some of those challenges and think about what's feasible for a specific school community and what makes sense for their goals and their school culture.
So Kara, can you talk a little bit more about how environmental and social issues show up in your work?
I think a lot about how our lives are determined by the built environment. So where our parents or guardians can afford housing, which neighborhoods you can rent from or buy a house in, where you get to go to school because of where you live, whether your parents are able to access childcare for you or benefits to support food security or to build wealth in your family, and benefits that just help families survive day to day. Even in families where both parents are working, and there are ways that choices about our environments are limited. Often these issues are framed from an individual or personal level. Well, why didn't this family pursue higher paying jobs? Why don't they just eat healthier? Or why don't they go outside more? But we rarely consider how community level choices affect the ability to access healthy places and healthy choices, right? A lot of that is structured in our environment, and where there is this mirage of choice, there actually is not a lot from the individual level. So an important thing to consider in this work is that there are folks who do make decisions for entire communities all the time at the city and the county level. And these are decisions like who gets new playground equipment, whose sidewalks get fixed in the winter first, whose neighborhood gets grants for small businesses, women-owned minority businesses to start. So if elected leaders can make these decisions about our communities and neighborhoods, we have the ability to hold them accountable so that they're making and creating healthier communities and neighborhoods for all of us equitably, for all families equitably to benefit from these choices. So I think that's a good way to think about how the environment and justice intersect, is that people make choices and we can hold them accountable to that process.
So if students are interested in this kind of work around the intersection of the environment and policy and education advocacy, what kinds of questions should they ask themselves to know if that might be a good career path for them?
I would say ask yourself how well you work with other people. Are you able to see the places where you share goals or you share vision? Because I think if you can always bring it back to there, you can work with anyone. Because there's some things that we don't ever disagree on, right? That everyone should be able to go to a quality school and get a quality education, that all families deserve healthy and safe housing. So those are shared places of understanding are so important to find in this type of work. Another question I would challenge you to think about is, how do you handle learning from mistakes? Because you will make them when you work with so many different diverse members of our community. And in schools, those stakeholders are everyone from the principal to the students, to the cafeteria managers, to parents. And so really thinking about accepting that you will make mistakes as you learn in your job and you grow those skills, but how do you learn from them and move forward? It's something I'm still learning myself too. So if you find the answer, please let me know. I think another good question is, what are you willing to compromise on? And what is the vision that you're not willing to compromise on? That's very clear to you. What are you in it for the long haul? What does that justice really look like? What does that transformative change really look like for you? Because working for justice in any capacity, whether it's environmental justice, education justice, racial justice, that requires a deep dedication. to a clear vision, right? And there are some things along that way that you will be asked to compromise on it. And so it's good to be clear about what your values are and the process you want to be accountable to in building that vision.
Kara, what is one piece of advice that you would offer to students who are interested in pursuing a career in this field?
One piece of advice I would have to say is like applying for a job or starting a new career is kind of like dating. Like the goal isn't to just get the other person to like you, but to figure out if you like them too, right? So it's the same way looking for a job. You want to really think about, are you excited to work with this group of people? Is this organization a good fit for you? And all the ways that means. So what type of team culture do you want? Where do they go to lunch? Like what type of projects do you want to work on or have they worked on that get you really excited? And then are they able to articulate like a vision that you are bought into, you know, that is something that inspires you, that you're proud to do in your work? That's something I really love about the nonprofit field. It's something I really love about my organization. From my very first interview, like I got it. Like I knew what the organization was fighting for and trying to achieve. And it was so well aligned with the things that I wanted to do and the type of career I wanted to build for myself. And so I totally understand that this field is like not for everybody, but I think if you are definitely someone who has a vision of the type of skills you have and the type of world you want to build, I would definitely encourage you to join us in the nonprofit world. Because there's lots of exciting things to work on together here.
Kara, thank you for sharing your thoughts and experiences with us today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I really think the work you do is such a benefit to the youth in our county. So thanks for providing opportunities for youth to learn about careers like this.
For more information or to learn about other careers in the Career Journey series, visit our website and check back soon for our next installment. Thanks!